welcome back. Tonight I'm gonna do my first lump charcoal. I bought a bag of Royal Oak. I've only ever done mostly just regular briquettes, and tonight I decided to buy some lump charcoal. I'm not cooking on the grill, I'm just gonna light the firebox up. I'm still learning this. I just got it a few days ago. Just trying to get the temps down before I do a cook this weekend. I only really used Kingsford briquettes in my cabinet smoker, the big wood cabinet smoker. You can see over there. Try the Royal Oak lump charcoal. I haven't tried it yet. Mostly briquettes, like I said before, and I'm gonna see how it burns compared to the briquettes, see what I like better. I'm doing a cook this weekend for my daughter's birthday, so I'm just trying to get to know the Grand Champ XD from Char Griller. Trying to just get to know like the temps and you know how it fluctuates, how long I have to feed, whenever I have to add a new split or some chunks or of wood or a little bit of charcoal, just to keep the temps nice and steady. So stay tuned. Okay, so for anybody who's brand new to this, never used a charcoal smoker, here's the difference. Here's charcoal briquettes. Here's lump charcoal. You can see it's just actual pieces of wood. They say that the briquettes, or the lump charcoal rather, is just more natural. Some people say, you know, this is a little less natural because they have to use some kind of binder to make the cubes. I've personally only ever used briquettes, but tonight I'm trying the lump charcoal. I'm just gonna see how it burns. Maybe use it this weekend for the first time, but I want to try it beforehand. And when you hear people talk about different types of wood, you have splits, which are big chunks of wood. This is hickory split. And then you have chunks, which are like this. If you're running something like that, you can use chunks, but you probably have to use more of them. But most people use splits. And even something like this, I'll probably cut this in half at least, maybe into thirds, and get several uses out of one chunk. I guess you could throw this on whole. I would do at least half, unless you have like a really big pit that could eat this, you know, fairly easy. But the bigger the wood, you know, you might get bigger spikes in your temperatures, and you're probably better off with something like that, size of that, probably at least half in this. All right, so we're about 20 minutes in to lighten the chimney. I did about, like I said before, 3/4 full with lump charcoal. I'm gonna let this calm down just a little bit, another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna put it in the firebox and get started. All right, so we're 30 minutes in to the chimney burning, and that's exactly what I want to see. Leave that in there for now. Okay, so now we got some charcoal in the basket. I'm gonna add one split. I wait for it to catch. Got my damper wide open. Let this catch. Doesn't take long. It's a hotbed of coals like that. Once that catches up like that, I'm gonna close the firebox. Chimney wide open. And we'll start tracking temps. All right, so we are 45 minutes in. I had to go put my kids to bed. We're sitting just under 250 on the analog gauge, and we're about 215 on the digital gauge. Let's open up the box. The box is burned down pretty good, but I'm going to throw another split in now. Like I said, we put minimal charcoal in for tonight. I'm just kind of practicing with the lump charcoal, keeping temps before I do a cook this weekend. So we'll let this get nice and hot. Hopefully it'll combust soon, and I'll close the firebox up and get this back up to temp. So within probably 3 minutes of putting the couple of splits in there, my temperature on the digital gauge went from about 215 to 225 right back up, 230 climbing. Right there, 230. And the analog gauge, which if you watch the other videos I made, there is quite a difference, especially when they're climbing. There's a big difference between the two, but as it levels out, it gets closer. They get closer, but you could see if you watch the other videos, or if not, the analog gauge is much higher in the cooker, to where my digital probe is on the bottom shelf right down here. So cooking chamber gets a lot hotter up top. That's almost 3 1/4 right there. You could see this is spiking pretty good right now. I have 2 chunks in there, or 2 splits rather in there. See how quick it's climbing. So we can control that with the dampeners. So once you get within, you know, some people say 25 or 30 degrees to where you want to be. You see we're still running wide open. Just close this off. Start with like a little bit more than halfway. Choke it off a little bit. Less oxygen to your fire, and that'll calm down your temperatures a bit. We're right at 253 on the bottom grate, which is where I'm going to do most of my cooking. And I'd like to stay between 250 and 275, maybe 240, 285, right in that range, for, you know, most of the stuff I'm going to be doing. All right, it's about 45 minutes in, or past the last update. You can see got some nice smoke going. Temp is up a bit, 268 on the bottom shelf, 270, 271. I've added a couple of splits and 1 small chunk that I had out for the video. You can see they're burning pretty good right there. That's probably why I have the spike in temps. The analog showing about 350. It's about, even in the other videos I did, it's like almost like a 60 to 70 degree difference. So I'm gonna do a mod on this, a couple of mods. I'm gonna add another temperature gauge down there, another one right down there, because most of my cooking is gonna be done on this bottom shelf. I'll open it up and show you. This is all seasoned in, but most of my stuff is gonna be down on that bottom shelf, where you can see I have a digital probe down there. So I'm going to go by the Thermo Pro. You can see it drops pretty significantly as soon as you open the chamber. But other than that, this thing's running pretty damn good. I got the damper open about halfway, a little bit more than half. I'll close it to halfway. All right, so we're about 2 hours and 45 minutes in, almost 3 hours. You can see I got good smoke rolling. Been adding splits, you know, every half hour, maybe 45 minutes, 1 or 2. Temp is holding perfect. 255 on the bottom grate, which is 260. Just jumped a little bit, which is pretty much right where I want to be. I would say I only put 3/4 of a chimney full in there, and it's still burning off that plus the splits. The upper gauge is showing about 350, a little bit over 350. I'm gonna go by my bottom gauge, because that's where I'm gonna be cooking most of my stuff. Down there, right in the middle. I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. Let's check the firebox. Let's see, most of the charcoal's gone. Just basically burning off the splits now. It's pretty hot, so I'll probably choke that off soon and wind it down for the night. All right, so here's my takeaway from lump charcoal versus briquettes and splits versus chunks. I would say the lump charcoal probably burned quicker than the briquettes. Obviously, if I was doing a cook tonight, I would have added, a lot more than, 3/4 of a chimney full. But it definitely burned down a lot quicker than the briquettes. But I kind of like the lump because it's more natural. I think the briquettes are, I think they're both, obviously safe to use, but I'm kind of leaning towards the lump charcoal just because it is just pure wood, no additives, nothing, no binders to keep it together. So even though it does burn faster, or maybe I'll have to add more, I'll probably cook with that this weekend. As far as the splits versus chunks, you could do whatever you want. I'm gonna use splits in the offset. I'll stick the chunks in the cabinet smoker, but for the offset I'm gonna use the splits, and I just think that they're more suited for the offset. So hopefully you got something out of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can learn together. Hopefully this helped anybody who's brand new out to a offset smoker. Maybe you got something out of it, and I appreciate you guys watching, and please like and share the video, subscribe, and I'll be sure to film the cook this weekend. Take care, guys.